Welcome to Scruffy City Aquatics. I'm Mitch. This is my 75 gallon. This video is a part 2 of a two-parter. I recently went on vacation and my tanks were alone for 7 days. No one fed them, no one cleaned them, there were no water changes. They just made it by with what was already there for 7 days. So I decided to chronicle what was going on with my tanks when I got home, how I found them. So the video is from a few days back, but I've had to record new intros because when I started with the tanks, I found out that I had way too many tanks to cover in one video. So here's part 2. It's going to be the 25 gallon and the 75 gallon that are in my living room. I hope you enjoy. All right, now we'll take a look at the 25 gallon, and of course this is the tank that was used to move the guppy endlers into the house this past winter. These fish will also be going back out to the pond. I'll probably cut down to just a few of them and start off with, I don't know, a specific male and maybe 3 or 4 females and kind of start the summer off that way. This tank also houses a number, this tank's positioning, you just get reflection. There's not anything I can do about it. That's why I don't do a lot of filming of it, except for at night. Nighttime's the best time for me to film this tank. But it also houses the Corydoras, the green Corydoras that I have raised up. There's about 2 dozen in here. They like to stay in the back, even though there's so many of them. Of course, I keep the front pretty covered, and I think that has a lot to do with it. Sorry, this is going to keep going out of focus just because of the reflection. I also have my blue diamond shrimp in here, and I just saw one, but it must have moved. I think I got it in a shot, but they like to stay in this Sawasser tank, which has done excellent for me. It's a very slow grower, but it's great for shrimp. The shrimp live in this all the time. I also have this ceramic, I guess it's ceramic pottery-like hide for them that they like to stay in, and there's a lot of detritus in there, which I believe they love. And you can see I've got some gorgeous ram's horn snails in here with this pink foot, and these are the ones that I plan on moving over to the 20 gallon. Lots of fry in here. There's always guppy fry and guppy endler fry in here, and some plants. I've been trying a few things. I have put a few root tabs. I still need some sleep. I've put a few root tabs in here, but a lot of the plants tend to float up, and as you can see, I'm growing Java fern in this one tank. It doesn't look great, but it is growing. And there are a lot of floating plants in this tank as well. Anacris, the Anacris from the pond is mostly in here. I've got frogbit and some water lettuce. I'm looking, I think there's water lettuce in here, but you can see there's like random Java ferns and random crypts all throughout this tank. But it looks exactly like it did when I left. It had no issues while I was gone. I should say that all of my tanks are either on the built-in timer or a Casa Wi-Fi timer. I really like the Casa Wi-Fi timers. I've ordered 4 of them, and I use them on all tanks. It's all lights. It's one of my blue dreams out here in the open. Get a good shot of it. The color on these is amazing. I can't wait to get them in their own tank. I hope I can get a little bit of a population going, and then I might move some over to another tank. I'd like to do greens, be it emeralds or jades, over in the 20 gallon, but I want it to grow in first so that they have plenty of places to hide. But I just love these shrimp. They're gorgeous. I hope I have a bunch of them in here. It's funny, whenever I look at this tank, I don't see them, but if I sit here for a while, I start to find them. They're just so dark. There's a little one right there. See it? Kind of in the middle. He's not moving. I'm moving a lot, but there's a ram's horn snail. Let's see. Right there, I got him in focus. Is a little guy. So this is one of my favorite tanks. It's just a lot of experimenting for me. It's kind of odd for me to find these Nerite snails on the bottom, so I have to check and see if he's alive. But this tank has a lot of ram's horns, a lot of really nice looking ram's horn snails. I know some of y'all don't like snails. I love my snails. I like to watch the snails. These ram's horns are pretty, some of them. But they help keep the tanks clean. They eat the detritus. They'll eat some algae, not a lot. I don't recommend, try to get you back in focus. I don't recommend them for algae control. Nerites help with algae. Ram's horns, maybe, but I don't know that's enough to bother with. So yeah, we're just kind of wandering around. It's real dark down here. This light not penetrating very far due to the thick floating plants. You can see these guppies, they're kind of thin. Before I do anything with them, I need to fatten them up. And this tank needs a good scrubbing all over. There's water spots all over it. I did last minute water changes before we left. This, sorry, dog social neighbors. Hey Bentley, no sir. This Amazon sword, not really doing all that great. I've got some new growth on it. I'll probably pull it out of this pot and plant it. But it is a daughter plant off of my original Amazon sword. This says my earpod's disconnected. But there's not much to talk about with this tank, so let's move on to the next one. All right, now for the 75-gallon tank. It's doing great, no issues. I mean, I don't know that I would really notice that the population had dropped any, other than there's some fish I would notice if they were missing. So that's probably the one thing that I looked for. Those fish I did not notice to be missing or ill or anything. So everybody seems to have fared well while I was gone. Again, 7 days, no feeding. I know a lot of people ask about that. They'll ask, about food blocks and stuff. And I did food blocks when I first got in the hobby. They're just not necessary. And as a matter of fact, they can cause more harm than good a lot of times. So I don't recommend them. I don't use them. If you're gone for more than 7 days, you need to find some way to feed your tank. But if you're only going to be gone a week, your fish will be fine. One, there's plenty of food in the tank that they just don't eat because you're giving them food all the time. And two, they can go a week without eating. All right, so first of all, we'll check in on the Stirby Corridoras. You know that I've been trying to start a school of these with limited success. Here are 3 of the 4 that I have up here up in the front. These are the ones that I worry about the most as far as trying to make sure they're fed. You do have to kind of spot feed these. You got to make sure you get the food down to them. These 3, there's actually 4 in here, but they tend to be a little more skittish, and they're not very they're not very dominant. They're not very competitive for food either. They'll just kind of, if they can, sorry, the dog is bumping me. If they can get it, they get it, and if not, they go on. So I do worry about making sure they've had plenty to eat. Let's see if we can get any other bottom dwellers while we're down here at the bottom. Some of them were hanging out a little higher than normal. Here's number 4 back here. So just kind of hanging out. He's coming down now. no problems that I see. Nothing wrong. Probably just hungry. Probably just looking for food. So I want to make sure I get them fed well again tonight. I'll probably put some more extreme scrapers, extreme scrapers in here, and make sure they're getting plenty to eat. I'll test the water, make sure the water quality is good. I need to do water changes tonight regardless. Yeah, they seem to be good. Let's go over here. I got some greens. It's one of my green cories. This glass could stand to be cleaned. You all know I don't ever clean my glass apparently. But there's a healthy population of green cories in here. Like I said, I did feed them last night, so they're just kind of hanging out around the tank. Anywhere they can find a good place to just kind of chill. Not very active right now. They were earlier today. I was watching them play around this morning. They were all over the tank. They like to, I can see one of them back there. They like to hide back in the jungle, or in the leopard valve, jungle valve. I have jungle valve. They like to hide back in the valve nowadays. There's a couple parked right here. So they're doing good. Everybody's doing all right. I haven't seen my autos since I got back, but if there's any fish in here that did well without being fed, it was the autos, because I don't feed the autos. They just eat from the tank. So let's come up here. So this guy right here, something's going on with him. His fins are pretty rough. He looks pretty rough. He is my oldest male guppy in this tank. He's not very, well, I don't know how old he is. But he definitely does look a little worse for wear today. Might need to do some intervention with him. Where did it go? This one also went in at the same time he did. Looking all right. This one up here looks great. No issues with him. Man, these have gotten pretty. They did not look like this when I left. They're looking nice. Lots of young fry guppies in here. This is a line I'd like to breed. I'm going to have to do some selection, some culling to pull some out, but I'm trying to get specific color. These mollies do not look great. I don't like how they're looking, but that's not abnormal for mollies, in my opinion, in a crowded tank, and this is a crowded tank. You can see these two are looking fabulous. He just continues to grow, and she is just gorgeous. Look at this guy, this guppy right here. Gorgeous fish. I love these guys. Let's see. Got a little pineapple fry over here. Lots of orange reds. I probably just need to hold the camera still and talk about whatever comes into frame. This little guy though, not looking great. Not looking great at all. Love this, love this. There's my small, this was my original male pineapple swordtail, and these are a hybrid. I believe they're Montezuma hybrids. But as you can see, some of them aren't getting the spots. This female right here is gorgeous without the spots. She also doesn't have as much color though. And this one right here, there's a few of them that are yellow with very little of the orange. Lots of orange in this tank nowadays. This one though has a lot of spots. This is a Montezuma that I added since I had a mixed line already. I went ahead and added them. Her, I'm looking because I've been kind of worried one of them was a hidden male. So I'm trying to look, looks like a her still. As you can see, the hair algae, still a thing in this tank. I did pull it all out before I left. So I do have some hair algae. Hair algae is not a big deal. It's helping keep the tank clean, helping clean the water. It's eating up nutrients. It is taking nutrients from my plants. Biggest problem from it. But it's easy to get out. Just a toothbrush, I can get all that out real easy. Not a fan of the shape of this fish. with me. There's a few in here, and I noticed them before I left. Tanner and I were discussing it because it's my least favorite part of the hobby. If I want to keep this line of guppies strong, I'm going to have to pull those out. And see, like right here, see this misshapen guppy? It's just a weak guppy. And it's not going to do my line of fish good to leave them in here. They're not going to do well. They're going to have a weakness that gets passed around. So unfortunately, that guy is going to have to come out of the tank. And I don't know what I'll do with him, but he's not going to stay in here. My original red swordtail, he's still looking good. He's about as big as a lot of the young females. He's not gotten very large. If I were to pull him out though, it would be better for my line because I have this guy, this huge swordtail. He does seem to be interested in the pineapple right now, and I've not had that in the past. He's always paid attention to the orange females and ignored the pineapples, but just now, of course, he might have been actually aiming for the orange female, and he just looked like he was messing around with the pineapple. See the stir-by Cory Doris swimming up here. Just trying to get a good look on him. He's not thin, but he's not as plump as I would like. That's not the newest one though. This was right here is the newest one. Looking very good down here. But lots of swordtail fry. There's still a few mollies in this tank here or there. This one's actually looking pretty good. I do plan on getting rid of them. I don't plan on keeping them. I don't want mollies. Got enough live bears in this tank. The aquarium co-op lights seems to be doing a good job, especially with my low light plants. This tank hates stem plants. You see I do have some growth going on with the stem plants, but they don't look great. Keep in mind, 7 days. Oh, here's another guppy that's shaping like that. Might have to pull those out. Keep in mind that I've not been able to keep on a regular dosing schedule, and I've been playing with the lights since adding the aquarium co-op light. Since I mentioned the light, I do need to say that the light was provided to me from Aquarium Co-op as part of their Friends of Aquarium Co-op program. I was invited to that program, so I'm very thankful to everyone over at Aquarium Co-op for their support. I help out on the Facebook group, and yeah, I'm just very appreciative of everything that they do for the hobby, and very thankful for the opportunity to try out some of their products. So the light was, I mean, that was the thing that the big purchase I'd planned on making this year, and they offered to send me one. So I have it, and it's been great. I do have it on a Casa Wi-Fi timer. I'd recommend making sure it's on the Casa Wi-Fi timer. I did have to turn it down some. As you can see, I've still got the algae, but I have not been consistently dosing this tank over the last few weeks. So I've got to get that back under control, and then we'll see how this light's doing. I like the look of it. Looking at it right now, I think the tank looks great. All the fish look great. These swordtails have a gorgeous sheen to them, and I do feel like this light shows that off. I do have some blues in some of my guppies, and these some greens on these pineapple swordtails, and it looks phenomenal. I don't know how well it's showing up right now in 4K, but it looks great in person. So this tank's doing great. No issues, no hiccups. Going to get a thorough cleaning. I do need to remove, I removed a ton of floating plants before I left, so you can see it's only about half floating plants in this tank, but I'll remove some more and replant some of the stem plants if I can find them, and do the dirty deed of getting rid of some of these guppies who just, they're not going to cut it. They're not going to produce a healthy line, so I can't leave them in here with these fish. All right, I think that's all for catching up with the tanks. That's where we're at. Well, if you're still here, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate that. If you liked it, please click the thumbs up so that YouTube knows that you liked it, and maybe they'll share it around. Getting really close to that 500 subscriber mark, and that would be awesome to see that happen. I really appreciate all of the support that I've experienced over the last year or so. And yeah, I guess that's it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Check out the Tuesday night live streams when you can. Enjoy your tanks.